I grew up with my sister, who was diagnosed at age 7 with type 1 diabetes, and also my nephew was diagnosed at age 3. So I felt like I was pretty familiar until it was time for Brighton to be diagnosed.
I'm Brighton, I'm 15 years old, and I have type 1 diabetes.
You know, all these changes that were happening with her were key symptoms of type 1 diabetes. So I missed them. I missed every one. And as a parent, and as somebody who grew up with it, makes you kind of kick yourself and think, you knew what you should be looking for. You knew the signs. How did you miss this? You know, it makes you question your parenting for a minute. There was weight loss, quick. I mean, 35 pounds in 3 months. Extreme thirst. She was always thirsty. She was always tired. She was always urinating. She was moody. She had some hair loss. The stomach pains, they told me later, was ketone buildup that I didn't recognize.
And I was heartbroken, you know. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what to expect from my daughter. And I didn't know how life-changing it was going to be.
When I realized that there's no cure for type 1 diabetes, I was very emotional. I was concerned. I was afraid that I was not going to be able to do the stuff that I used to love doing every single day.
She dances on the high school dance team, and at the state football tournament this year, they played at the Allegiant Stadium, and minutes before she's supposed to go on and dance, her blood sugar just plummets. It's scary. As a parent, that's heartbreaking.
There's one specific time where I really felt bad about myself, and it was the first time she was low and I didn't know, and I was mean to her because she was not answering my questions, and she was not, you know, reacting, you know, the way I wanted to react as a father. And Shelly came in and said, hey, you know, her levels are like at 40, and so she was super low. So here I am, kind of being a jerk to my daughter when I should have been quite the opposite and tried to help her. And I learned from it, and I've tried to be better about those types of things. But, you know, it's been a learning experience for me, and, you know, Brighton's not the only one that's had to grow up a little bit through this process. I feel like I have too.
There's been a lot of times when it's hard mentally, because you're just like, well, I'm never going to be normal. It's a struggle. It's hard every single day. You never know what your blood sugar is going to do, whether it's going to spike or whether it's going to drop.
As a mom, you worry about your kids anyway. And then when something like this happens, it just compounds that worry with other things.
You know, I dread the day that all my kids leave the house, but with Brighton, you know, she's going to have a different set of circumstances that she's going to have to deal with, and, you know, at that point we are a support function for her only, which is even more of a difficult thought.
I'm worried about it. It's scary, because you never know that if I could pass out and not even know, because I wasn't being careful enough.
I've never told her this, so this is the first time she's going to hear it, but Brighton's one of my heroes. Like, I don't have to deal with this. I've dealt with my own adversity health-wise in different ways, but not this. I mean, you look at all the advances in the medical field for type 1 diabetes that has happened. 100 years ago, this is probably a death sentence. And today we have the ability for this technology to self-administer and insulin to be grown not from an animal but be grown in a lab. That didn't happen on accident. That happened because people stepped up and helped this organization to continue to help find cures. The money goes to actually help young people that are stricken with something that they didn't choose. And I can't harp on that enough.
It just happens to you. It's not something that happens because of something you've done. It's not something that happens because of somewhere you've been or something that you've been exposed to. It's something that happens to you.
The JDRF, for it to actually cure this type 1 diabetes, it needs help. And that doesn't happen on accident. So people that have the ability to help need to step up and do it, and invite their friends and people that are in their sphere of influence to do the same thing. And that's super important.